It's on mute. Now? Yeah. Sounds good.
It's working now?
Can you see that on the screen?
Yes.
Do I need to use the microphone?
You don't have to if you don't want to. Yeah, because they can hear you through here, so it's fine.
Okay, good afternoon, brethren.
Good afternoon.
Welcome once again to the afternoon program.
Bienvenue encore dans le programme avant-midi. Do I need to take space?
Yes. Yes.
Why?
We don't speak English.
That's a good. We need to preach and go the way.
You know I don't speak.
Yes.
How many people do we have online?
It's only us. There's nobody.
Yeah.
So we just put in this for to record it for the Zoom for the YouTube. Yeah.
Diabetes. Today's topic is diabetes. Okay. But before we start, I want to read the verse for you. Read the verse. Brother, can you read that verse for me? Good.
So whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God.
Amen.
Amen.
Let's kneel down and start with a prayer.
Heavenly Father, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, once again we bow down before that throne of grace to ask you for your mercies, for blessings. We thank you for feeding us spiritually this morning. In the midday, we fed physically, and now we come again to take that dinner, which is another important meal, the spiritual ones that we need. And we got to diabetes, which and the whole world suffer it. We're asking at this time for please once again be with us, mainly with our brother, your son, who's about to give us the subject, about to enlarge it to us. May please give him your wisdom, give him your might and your Holy Spirit, so that the words that he's going to speak, although you know that he has knowledge of it, but for them to come from you, and that we who are going to hear it will hear your voice through him, and that put into practice application everything that we need to do to help ourselves and other people with this disease. Create us, protect us, in Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen. So what is diabetes? And what is diabetes mellitus?
Mellitus means sugar and sweet.
Okay. I'm going to stand here because I want to see the screen here. So diabetes means high glucose body. Okay? Especially in the blood. When they take a blood sample from you, they're going to see the amount of glucose in the blood. Okay? And so diabetes mellitus, people have less production. They may have production of insulin, but they have resistance. Okay? And the body doesn't accept the insulin to work on their body, so it doesn't reduce the sugar in their system.
What exactly is
Sick.
I didn't get you. Come again?
She asked what glucose.
Glucose is the sugar inside your blood. blood sugar. Right. So the term diabetes mellitus, um, it's a metabolic disorder, which means that it is something that happens within the chemistry of your body. So the chemistry in your body is affected, right? Sugar is a chemical, correct? And the chemistry in your body is affected. And metabolism of your body does not allow it to digest, right? So it stays in your bloodstream for a longer time. So when you have increased glucose for a long time, it's called chronic hyperglycemia. Okay? When you have sugar in your body or bloodstream for a long time, it's called chronic hyperglycemia. Hyper means high, and glycemia, the word glycemia is high glucose. Okay? And so what happens to the food that we eat? When you eat a rice, what happens? Huh?
Well, the white rice, the sugar goes straight into the bloodstream.
It does, rice doesn't only have sugar. It has other things too.
White rice.
All type of rice have a certain amount of nutrients. But sugar is the carbohydrates in there is what breaks down the glucose, right? And we have in our body fat and the protein metabolism also. The breakdown of the fat and the protein as well. And also, this person that has diabetes mellitus has a defect in insulin secretion, right? So they don't produce enough insulin, or it doesn't, it affects their body. So now, what happens to a person that has diabetes? So where can it affect? What parts of the body? As the picture suggests, right? The brain can be affected. Right? The heart can be damaged. Nervous system can be damaged. The blood vessels can become clogged because the sugar in your body is going to become eventually fat, and then it's going to clog up the arteries. You get injuries on your foot, and then you can lose your feet, starting from the toe onwards. You may have known somebody in your family or in your closest circle that has lost their leg because of diabetes. Kidneys get affected, and your eye also gets affected. You can have diabetic retinopathy. You can have glaucoma. You can have cataracts, and that's all from diabetes. Diabetes has a wide variety of things that it does to your body, which is not good, in essence. So it has long-term damage to your body and causes dysfunction and failure to various organs. So when you have high cholesterol in your body, what gets affected? When you have high cholesterol in your body, what gets affected? Your heart gets affected. What else gets affected? Have high cholesterol. Your blood vessels get affected, right? And all these, they contribute to each other. Eventually, each system in your body is affected because of high glucose in the body. So, what are the symptoms of diabetes? Number one is thirsty, always thirsty. Number two is called polyuria. Polyuria meaning you want to go to the bathroom frequent urination, increased thirst, your blurring of vision because your cataracts that come into your eye, or diabetic retinopathy that came into your eye, and you start to lose weight. And in the most severe forms, ketoacidosis. Have you heard about ketoacidosis? Have you heard anyone that has ketoacidosis? So it's a condition where the levels of sugar is very high in the body, then your urine starts to smell like fruit, you know? So when you have fruity urine or fruity smelling urine, or it smells like Coca-Cola, then you have ketoacidosis. Your body is becoming, succumb to diabetes. Even if you, even if you didn't eat a fruit and your body is smelling like, when you go to urinate, it will smell like fruits. Pardon? The urine, I don't know if you.
Yeah,
nobody tasted it.
somebody was telling
Sometimes that happens.
telling me
Research.
if he's tired,
Uh-huh.
and I tell him, check your urine. This is sweet.
It's sweet.
And the last day, after 2 days, went to the doctor, 500.
500 sugar.
Yeah, wow.
That's high. That's
Very,
very high.
it's not like clear. The urine is not coming clear.
It's coming dark. Okay. Okay, so when this condition gets too mature, when the condition of sugar or the level of sugar in your body, which is supposed to stay at a normal fasting level of 70 to 100, if it goes above that, you're already diabetic, right? And when you have a constant state of this body, it could lead to coma. It could lead to you becoming as though you were awake, but you're not awake at the same time. They call that stupor. And if you don't catch it on time, the person can die.
Yeah.
So the long-term effects that we spoke about is the same thing, You could get blind. Yes.
So the fasting sugar is at 80 to 100. What about
70 to
not-
100.
70 to 100? What about if you have not fasted? Like
We'll get to
whatever.
that.
Oh,
So you could get blind.
oh no. Okay. My question is like, because he spoke about the. I'm gonna say that in Creole. So il parlait de fasting sucre. Ça veut dire que on lever ou pour manger, on peut manger tout en sucre. Ça veut fasting blood glucose, right? Mais qu'on a même posé de 70 à 100, qu'on a même question de dire c'est que et le manger quand le rythme de
Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. Okay. So what are the long-term effects? Like we said, you could get blind. You could have renal failure, right? It could affect your nerves. You get ulcers in your feet, and you could end up with losing toes or other things in your body. And you can have nervous system dysfunction, which causes dysfunction to many other parts of the body too, and also sexual dysfunction in some people. And it's a serious thing because people have to thrive and survive. And when you're supposed to have a family and survive, you're going through all of these things, And then you have heart problems. Then you have vascular problems, brain problems in the brain. You can have a stroke. You can have bleeding in the brain. So many things that can happen because of diabetes, right? So in the United States, the population that we have is what? The number of people, they say in 2025, the number of people that will be affected by diabetes will be about this many people. Yeah,
Just because of food.
just because of the food.
Yeah.
What's the population of this country
That's why we need to run away.
This country alone? or
right
the
now?
world?
Right now.
How much? Isn't it 17?
No, this country alone.
Oh,
It's about almost 400 million.
almost 400.
Imagine 90% of the population will be diabetic by 2035. It's a big burden, health burden. And in most Western societies, it's 4 to 6%, and as high as 10 to 12% in people, among the 60 to 70-year-old range. When you get older, you're more likely to have diabetes because you were not careful as you were growing up. And the annual health cost caused by diabetes is about 12% of the internal revenue of healthcare. So it's a big burden on the whole economy as well. So what are the types of diabetes? Type 1 diabetes, okay? And type 2 diabetes, and then gestational diabetes, and then we have the different diabetes, right? So what is type 1 diabetes? Type 1 diabetes is known as insulin-dependent diabetes. Insulin-dependent, and you can start seeing it when you are a child. Yes, as young as 2.
Yeah.
And it starts to destroy the beta cell. So that's your question earlier, right? The immune system starts to destroy the beta cells. So if the beta cells are destroyed, what happens in the body? They don't have what?
You become insulin resistant.
You don't have it.
You don't have it at all.
Yeah. You don't have it at all. And then that's why it's insulin dependent diabetes. Then you have to give them insulin all their life. They get insulin. So 5 to 10% of all the cases of diabetes is insulin dependent diabetes. So they are type 1 diabetes mellitus. Okay? And it is a genetic condition. It's autoimmune as well. So your body immunity can affect your own cells, and then you get this diabetes, right? And other environmental factors. Type 2 diabetes, on the other hand, is known as non-insulin dependent diabetes. So you don't need insulin, right? Type 2 diabetes mellitus is non-insulin dependent and is adult onset. So after a certain age, you will start to see symptoms of diabetes because you do not take care of your body in the proper way. Okay? 90 to 95%, 90 to 95% of the body, of the people that are diagnosed with diabetes have type 2 diabetes. So insulin resistance and the pancreas gradually lose its ability to produce it. This also, you lose the production of insulin, but it is not dependent upon it. And it's associated with older age. So you will see that older people, 60 to 70, 50, 60, 70, they will start to have symptoms of diabetes, and they tend to have it. But nowadays, we see it as young as 30. Right? Obesity can contribute to diabetes. Family history of diabetes. So if you have an uncle, an aunt, or a cousin that had diabetes, you are prone to get diabetes as well, because it's part of your family. Right? History of gestational diabetes. So if a woman was pregnant and she has diabetes during her pregnancy, she might likely end up with diabetes after pregnancy. The kid also could get diabetes. The mom also can become diabetic
But that can be reversed.
It can be reversed. It can be treated during the pregnancy, but they are more likely to become diabetic after the pregnancy as well. Okay? Physical inactivity. And some races and some ethnicities are prone to diabetes. Asians, because we're diabetic. You know? Huh?
We?
No, Asians, we are diabetic. And some of the races are also prone to diabetes and other diseases because of your predecessors, your ancestors. So it says here, African Americans, Hispanic Latino, Americans, American Indians, and some Asian Americans and Native Hawaiians and other Pacific Islanders are particularly higher risk for type 2 diabetes. Why do you think so?
Because of the way it eats.
Because of the carbohydrate
High
diet,
carbs.
high carb diet.
Yeah.
And now it's being increasingly diagnosed in children and adolescents. Okay, so type 1 diabetes, insufficient insulin. Okay, type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance. Type 1, no insulin. Type 2, insulin resistant. So when insulin acts upon these receptors, this is a diagram of how it looks inside, right? So if they act upon this insulin receptor, they're supposed to signal to this to absorb, right? What happens now? Because this doesn't work, there's a defect and the signaling doesn't get passed on. Now, there is diminished glucose uptake. That means that the glucose is not being processed in the blood, right? And then it stays out in the nervous system. And it's not supposed to be that way. Your body is supposed to process the glucose and pass it out, but it's not processing. Right? Okay, it's too much information. So, pre-diabetic. Who can be termed a pre-diabetic? Who is a pre-diabetic? Right? When you have fasting glucose that is not within the normal limit, then and you do a fasting test, so and you have an impaired fasting glucose, or you have an impaired glucose tolerance test, you know what they do? They give you a shot of sugar early in the morning, and you have to drink that shot, and they check your sugar level. Within the 2 hours, if the sugar comes back to normal, then it's okay. But if this fasting is done because you fast overnight and then your glucose is above the normal level, then you have impaired fasting glucose. But if you have impaired glucose tolerance, it means after you take the shot and 2 hours later, your body doesn't come back to normal, then you have something wrong, right? Then they term you as pre-diabetic. Some people may have both this fasting glucose is not correct and glucose tolerance is not correct. So fasting glucose 100 to 125. If it's within this in the fasting, then you're pre-diabetic. Yes.
I have a question. Why is that when some people, diabetic people get in the back before they even eat something and then their sugar is like really high? Why is that?
Before they eat anything, their sugar is high
Fasting,
because they ate last night and it didn't process the body, and they did not take the medication they were supposed to take. And sometimes even with the medication, their sugar levels stay
so
high. Because the system is not processing properly.
Because I heard them complaining saying, well, I just get up, I don't even eat anything. My sugar level is so high, so they don't understand why. So I'm like,
It's the food that we consume. Nowadays, everything has become commercialized, right? And because they have commercialized, they try to put sugar everything. You take a juice, a bottle of juice, and you flip it around and check the amount of sugar that it has. You will be surprised that it is not the natural amount of
Yeah.
sugar in juice. And they can claim as much as they want it's
Sugar-free,
100%
yeah.
sugar-free, but it has 22 grams of sugar per cup. Imagine I drink 3 cups. I'm already drinking 69 grams of sugar. So it's a lot of sugar in there. You know? Yes. We will go into detail about that. Right? So if your fasting glucose is 100 to 125, you are pre-diabetic. If your glucose tolerance test after 2 hours is 140 to 199, you are pre-diabetic. It should be below 140. But if it is 140 to 199, then you're pre-diabetic. You know, that's a serious thing. Now you need to consider what the question was. How can you prevent it? So, fasting sugar. That's the normal for fasting sugar. 70 to 99 or 100. Okay? And so if someone with diabetes, 80 to 130. This one, 2 hours after meal should be less than 140. But if someone is diabetic, less than 180. Right? And HbA1c should be less than 5.7. If someone is diabetic, they should be 7 or less. And if you want, I can send you this. And take a picture of it if you want, because you need to remember this. This is very important.
On YouTube.
Now, the values of diagnosing diabetes, right? Fasting, we're going to go only venous. We're not doing capillary. We're not doing plasma. This is higher level, right? This is hospital level stuff. This is the blood that they take out from your arm. If on fasting you have 6.1 or less than 110%, then you are, no, 110 is pre-diabetic because it should be 70 to 99 or 100. And 2 hours after glucose, if it's less than 180, then you are diabetic. Either you are diabetic or if you're normal, then you're pre-diabetic, right? If you have impaired glucose tolerance test, it should be less than 110. But if it's more than 110, that's proper. Impaired fasting glycemia, then it should be less than 100 and 5.6 and below. HbA1c should be 5.6 and below. That's normal. 5.6 and below HbA1c. But if you get an HbA1c more than 5.6, then you are pre-diabetic. If you're more than 7, you are diabetic. What can we do to prevent? Lifestyle modifications, right? And they have done many researches that states that if you do certain things in your life, you can prevent diabetes from happening. And so they're saying that with people that had a high risk for becoming diabetic, they also conducted studies upon them. And what this is saying is that you have to do moderate intensity physical activity. So walking for how many hours? Each week. 2.5 hours each week. Can you divide that into 7? Huh? 30 minutes every day. Huh? How many hours do you exercise? 4
Oh, I probably work at 6 hours.
1 hour at the gym? Okay. Do you work out, brother? What do you do?
Amazona.
I go to the gym.
You lift.
You lift weights?
Yeah. In the boxes.
You lift boxes?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to do physical activity. You have to do heavy physical activity. Um,
Excuse me. If we hit, time scale, we work 30 or 35, doing time scale, that enough?
could be. Per week, you have to walk 2.5 hours. You can divide the 2.5 hours into how much ever days you want, right? But consistent, being consistent about what you do is the key. So if I walk today, tomorrow I don't walk, day after tomorrow I have to walk. It's not like I walked 35 minutes today, and then on Wednesday again I walk another 35 minutes, and then another on next Saturday. It doesn't work like that. If you walk today, tomorrow you don't walk, it's fine. Day after tomorrow you don't walk. Right? Even workout is the same thing. If you work out today and you don't work out tomorrow, that's fine. But the day after, you have to work out. Every other day, you have to make sure that you go and work out. Then you are helping your body to get rid of all the excretions that it needs to do so that your body can be cleansed. It's not only healthy for your body, but it's also healthy for your mind. Because that exercise will give you fresh air into your body and cleanse the system. Right. So pancreas, the beta cells release insulin into the blood, right? And then from that, they go and work in the muscles, in the liver, and the liver, they convert the glucose to glycogen, and from that into fat and protein. So glucose in your body essentially becomes fat and protein. But when it gets over accumulated, what happens to your body? What happens to your body when you over accumulate the sugar in your body? You become diabetic and also obese, right? And the blood glucose levels, if everything is processed properly, blood glucose level will fall, and then less insulin is produced, and then it just the whole system just keeps repeating itself. But if there's something that is wrong in this system, which happens to be in the pancreas, right? Then your body becomes diabetic, right? And you are allowing your body to become diabetic because of your habits, because of the way you eat. Let's say you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, right? You do whatever you need to do. You pray, you eat, and then you go to work. But at work, you're snacking again in between. And then you have lunch. And then after lunch, you're snacking again, having a tea, having this, having that. And then you go again at 6 o'clock to eat another meal. And 9 o'clock again, you're eating another meal. And then 11 o'clock again, you met with your friends and you ate another meal. How many meals did you eat already? Huh? Too many meals. Yeah.
Intemperance.
Right? That's not good for the body. You have to set your mind. Okay, I ate my meal. My next meal is at this time. The next meal is at that time. And if you can, after you reach a certain age, eat 2 meals a day. Yeah, because those 2 meals, I'm telling you, they work wonders. Whenever I eat 2 meals, I feel more healthy the next morning. I feel more fresh and focused the next morning. And when I eat 3 meals, I feel sluggish the next day. And even if I'm energized in my mind, my body doesn't want to do anything because I ate food.
Okay. They said, if you have, if you're diabetic, you can eat 2 times or 3 times a day. practice?
multiple times.
Small.
Small meals, yeah. Break down your meal, smaller portions, because the amount of glucose that you will take in should have time to break down in the body. You have to give the medication time to work on your body to allow for the excretion or to allow for the processing. That's why they tell them to take meals in smaller portions and number please. Instead of 3 meals, they will eat 6. More fiber, more filling food so that you feel full faster, but less sugar content.
Not a problem.
Hmm?
Not a problem.
It's not a problem. Cabbage, cauliflower,
All the greens, brother.
and
Like based on our faith that
right,
that's-
celery, carrots, all those things that give you more fiber in your body, they fill up your tummy faster and more proteins, like sprouts, You eat fresh sprouts and it will fill up your belly faster. You feel full and you don't feel hungry for quite some time. Those are the types of food that helps the diabetic person. Yes.
Diabetes. Sometimes I don't feel like, I don't know what should I eat. I want to eat, but I don't know what to eat. It's a problem.
It is a problem. You want to eat, but you don't know what.
No. Next minute I say, okay, I'm gonna eat this. Like I love plantain. Plantain is not good for diabetes. I know.
Yeah.
The banana plantain, the green one. I love that. And I say, I want that. Not that I said I don't want it. That's not what I want to eat. I want something different. And I make it. That's not what my belly wants. You understand?
No, why did you?
Right.
Is that the diabetes that caused that?
It's the diabetes that causes the craving for the sugar, right? You are craving for sugar and you're craving for sugary glucosey meal. And diabetes is the one that's telling you. But you can fight it by eating fibers. And you can fight it. You can fight it by eating healthier options. Shoots. What's that? You made the cake. You said, what was that?
Super
Yeah, those are the things that you shouldn't be touching because they have a lot of sugar in
Oh.
it. Potatoes, starchy foods, rice. You need to stay away from those type of foods.
I eat rice, not
Yeah, your quantity of rice should be very little, but your quantity of steamed vegetables, and, yeah,
But I
and
prefer roasted.
roasted, steamed, raw vegetables, and sprouts. If you include that, your plate is more protein than carbohydrates and fiber, then you will benefit.
How could you get rid of diabetes?
It's not.
What do you do
There's a
to
level
get rid
you
of it?
can.
Well, understand that before you have diabetes, your body went through an ordeal for years. You start out, I just learned this, you start out with the syndrome X, then you get to pre-diabetes, and then diabetes. And so, don't expect for it to be reversed in a matter of days. But it is a change in lifestyle. And when I say lifestyle, it's not today I do it and then tomorrow I neglect. You completely decide to just change the way you do things, the way you eat. Another word, if you go back to Eden and respect the 8 laws of health, by the grace and mercy of the Lord, that should help.
When you explain how people do diabetes, mine was different. When you were showing the pictures, how diabetes come, mine was different. It didn't come like that. First, I feel like dizzy. I feel thirsty all the time. I drink a lot of stuff. And I thought it was like, because I didn't eat food, I need some vitamin, and then it give me gas. And when I went to the doctor, I feel for your body. So I got gas all the time. Say everybody, body's different with diabetes. Everybody got it different. I used to go to the doctor all the time. Why? For the diarrhea. And the doctor said, yeah, diabetes causes. No, lost. Diabetes causes. Diabetes changes everybody body different. It gives me a lot of gas. If I knew about diabetes back then, I would say to the doctor, you know something? Don't give me the medicine. Let me work it out. Let me fix it. Let me eat better. Back then, I didn't know about metformin. No, not metformin. I didn't know about it. Yes, I didn't know about it. If I knew, I would say to the doctor, don't give me those medicine. I don't want it. Let me take to exercise, because there was a guy who was diabetes. Took the doctor, no, don't give me the medicine. I don't want it. Give me 2 months. Now I'll come back. Now I come back, everything. He did. He said, "Karen, but he's supposed to do diabetes is not." I told him, only one thing. When you come, let me be healthy. I want to be healthy. I
This-
want to be
This
healthy.
is achievable. Yes. Again, it goes back to a healthy lifestyle. And you have to be perseverant in what you do. You know, and because understand your body went through this ordeal for years, and on top of it, you're taking medication, which, you know, always have some sort of secondary effect. And so you have to understand having a lifestyle changes will definitely help you. You'll find that there's a lot of difference in you with your energy and clarity of mind and different things. And so,
Another question. Wait, I got another one. No, I mean, if you don't mind.
no, no, that's what he was saying. When you have diabetes, you try to avoid high carb diet. That's the problem. Because then it goes,
One thing, I went to the doctor, say to me, I'm not gonna give you no more pills. And I say, why? Because I'm a fighter, I'm really fighter. I don't let doctor tell me what to do. I cannot tell you what I want and what you want to do. And I said to him, listen, this is my life, not your life. I don't want the insulin. I don't want it. Because when I'm ready to go to countryside, that insulin not gonna make me stuck behind. And I said to him, listen, the reason why I take it because my sugar is not uncontrollable. When my sugar uncontrollable, you never gonna see. And he said to me, "Say to your pastor woman, then I see it to somebody else." He said, "Oh, you going to the nutritionist?" I said, "Okay, no problem. I don't mind." And then he know what the patient is. Send me there. As soon as I get there, there was a lady. She's in. She's pushy. She's a pushy lady. Just like. And I went over there. She said to him, "Oh, the reason you from there, I'm happy to see." I said, "I'm happy to see you." And then what? I said, "What are you gonna talk about? If it's insulin, keep it for yourself because I don't want it." "Oh no, no, insulin is good for you." I said, "No, you don't know my life. I know. I know what I. You don't know what. Keep it for yourself." I said, "You know something? That don't create insulin from your body." And she said to me, "That's the reason why God have us as a doctor to give you those rest away. If God sends you to be a doctor, you should be natural stuff, not insulin. I don't want it." And I told her, "That's the last time you're gonna see me. You're never gonna see me. You're never gonna see me." And the last time I was on vacation, they called me. I called there. I answered that question. I'm gonna make it short. No.
Amen.
I said, "I'm not finished." And then they called me. They asked me, "Sister, this Alexandra, are you coming back to the doctor?" I said, "No, I'm not coming back." They said, "Oh, the doctor want to see me." I said, "I'm not coming back." And they said, "Why?" I said, "That lady, she's a pushy doctor. I do it. The boy said, the guy was saying, say it again. I'm gonna write it down for you. And I said, let me tell something. Shit up. I did not talk to you the way you. He said, oh, no. I went to my back man. Said, listen, next time you want to send it to the doctor, don't send it there. I'm not going to do that. And I want you only. I don't want nobody else. If you want to give me something, if you give it to me, I don't mind. I'm not gonna take it anyway. I only take men for me. I only take men for me.
Sure.
And then the doctor said, the pill, take, it's not gonna do nothing. The metformin, it's not gonna do nothing. It's true. My sugar never go down. Last time I checked my sugar, when I should check yesterday, sugar was 3 something, but they put it for me. Nothing. Only blood pressure. I said, I'm not going to eat.
Something, don't you? Yeah,
Our
but,
life.
no, but you have to be careful
I'll be
because as
I'll be careful.
Brother Anbu mentioned in the study,
But I'm not going to the doctor.
diabetes affects your organs.
Isolate.
Exactly. So you need to do something. Okay. Yes. You are stubborn. Sorry.
I know I'm stubborn. I know.
But okay, I understand, you know, and I respect, you know, your choice when it comes to what the doctor is telling you to do, but you need to do something about the diabetes, and you cannot allow it to keep going like that. Because you understand, if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for your children. You need to change your life.
I do change it. I do little by little. I can't eat more salad because it's I use with it.
That's gonna be your
I
diet.
can't drink it.
Yeah, green juice
That's gonna be your
is a
diet.
nice cleanser.
I can't have spinach because it makes me sick to my belly.
I need to know
Green
Juice.
juice. Green juice is
Celery.
really good.
Celery.
Celery.
Only celery.
so good.
Celery, green apple.
Oh, juice
Yeah,
salad.
green apple the best. Green apple the best.
Yeah, you know, the celery, you can come like,
I still didn't hear her question, but.
Good question.
She's just wetting her. All right, sister, Rose.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I think so. Somebody have diabetes, it is one or two, the person can go back.
reverse.
Yes,
Yes,
reversal of diet. We'll talk about that.
Lifestyle.
We'll talk about that in a bit. All right.
Yes, you can.
Let's give him time.
That's the same thing that she's talking about. Can I get away from diabetes even if I have a high sugar level? You know, sister.
I'll be right back.
How are you?
No, he could talk.
So gestational diabetes. How many people know gestational?
I don't know. What's that mean?
Gestational
that?
meaning pregnant diabetes.
Oh,
Diabetes from pregnancy.
Okay.
Have you
I've heard
had a
it.
daughter?
What do you mean?
I've heard it
It's
from
pregnancy.
doctors because when I was pregnant with the kids, they had me. Yeah, so that's when I heard it. But I didn't.
Yes, so gestational diabetes, pregnancy diabetes, okay? And it needs medication to normalize the glucose levels during pregnancy because they don't want it to affect you nor the child. Because when the child comes out, it could affect the child as well, right? And about 5 to 10% of the pregnancies, they have, type 2 diabetes. And they're also claiming that 20 to 50% chance that the woman will become diabetic after pregnancy within the next 5 to 10 years after she had gestational diabetes. So other types of diabetes, they come from specific genetic conditions, maturity onset diabetes of youth, surgery, some medication, some drugs, malnutrition, infections, and other illnesses. Like you have pancreatic
Oh,
surgery, or if you had kidney, if you have part of the liver, those can cause diabetes. Drugs, illicit drugs as well, they can cause diabetes. Then these diabetes are like 1 to 5% all types of diabetes.
If you had, fibroid, surgery, that's
Fibroid in the uterus?
Yes.
Yeah, in the uterus, that's what you mean?
fibroid.
Yes. Yeah, you do it.
Uterus? No, it doesn't
No.
affect it. So this is autoimmune type diabetes 1. And the individuals who are older than this happens in people that usually don't start out with young diabetes or type 1 diabetes at a young age. It's not a juvenile diabetes, but it starts off later in life, right? And then, some patients with this type of diabetes, they mistakenly identify them as type 2 diabetes when they have type 1 diabetes, right? Because type 1 diabetes is supposed to start when you're young, but it ends up starting, let's say, when you're 30, then they misclassify it as type 2 diabetes when they actually had insulin dependent diabetes, right?
Excuse me, one question still.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so diabetes is secondary causes. What other, diseases can cause diabetes? Acromegaly. Have you heard about acromegaly? Acromegaly is when a person has big hands, big feet, and big face. Oh, they're big, literally gigantic,
Yes.
because of a genetic, right? Cushing syndrome, when a person's thyroid overworks. Thyrotoxicosis, the same thing. When a person has pheochromocytoma, which is the pancreas have, they secrete a lot of secretion, and then the adrenal glands react to it. Then that also causes, it's kind of a tumor in the body that they have to cut out. And sometimes some patients have to keep repeatedly cutting out. They've had like 20 or 30 surgeries trying to remove the tumors. Yeah. And that causes diabetes, right?
They have tumor everywhere. I think.
On the adrenal gland.
But yes to that question.
They have what?
It can have tumor. different
Anywhere in the
places in
body.
your
Yeah, different places in the body. It's not only in the brain. It's all over the body. You can have tumors. If you want, we can talk about that in another topic. Right? Chronic pancreatitis. When somebody has infection in the pancreas and it's chronic, it's a long-term infection, they can have diabetes too. Cancer can cause diabetes as well. Right? Some other medications that are listed over here, like anti-seizure medications, anti-hypertensive medications, anti-psychotics, they all can cause diabetes. Right. So if you're pre-diabetic, it's very likely that you will become diabetic. So for us to prevent you from becoming diabetic, what do you need? The sister
Lifestyle.
went away. She was asking lifestyle change.
I think she.
Went to the restroom. Sister, prevention of diabetes. How to prevent the diabetes from happening. Lifestyle. What are lifestyle changes that you can do? Huh? Change your diet. Okay, that's a good one. What other changes?
Exercise.
Huh? Exercise. Very good. What else can you?
Sleep early.
Very good. What else can you?
Like 8 doctors technically.
Exactly. I'm just wanting them to say it. Air,
Air.
sunlight,
Water,
water,
trust in God,
sleep,
and
faith.
temperance.
Yes. Huh? What's that? The eighth doctor. Yes. You have to do those things so that you can have.
I research, and I read from this doctor who did various research on different people, and he talked about how for the prevention of diabetes, how you can do like a fast, intermittent fasting. What do you think about that?
Intermittent fasting is very good for you. It's an awesome way to reduce yourself habit, right? So, do you understand what this is talking about? Fasting. So I eat one meal in the morning, and my next meal in the afternoon is at 4 o'clock. That's standard. So from 4 p.m. until next morning at 8 a.m., I'm not eating. How many hours? It's about 16 hours. So 16 hours I did not eat. Do you think my body is going to burn fat so that it can use up energy from inside? It will, right? And in that process, is going to burn up the glucose as well, because glucose and fats are the first ones to be burned in the body, right? So 16 hours of fasting, and then my next meal is at 8 a.m. or the other meal at 4 p.m. So I eat 2 meals throughout that cycle. And I have a fast of, instead of 8 hours of fasting, I have 16 hours of fasting.
That's when you're gonna have to eat a big difference. Because I could do it alone. Without work, I cannot do it.
When
I get
you-
hungry.
Yeah, of
So I'm
course.
moving around.
You work, get hungry, but you hold on to that hunger. You beat the hunger at 4 o'clock.
Ninja, question. I have a question.
And
Have
you're
you
still
ever-
gonna feel hungry.
Have you ever been hungry? Yeah, water stuck coming out of your eyes? Oh, then you have not fasted yet. Oh, it's just you have not fasted yet.
What do I have to come with my
Yeah,
eyes?
you so hungry. Yeah, you start
Oh, I
crying.
get dizzy. Dizzy. I see blurry.
Uh-huh.
I get dizzy.
Yeah, because you're diabetic. That's
Yeah.
I'm diabetic.
If you have,
I get dizzy. When I'm hungry, I don't go fast. I check my sugar, I don't go fast to eat. My head spin.
yes.
Spin. I have to wait for something enough that I
I wanted, there's a type of cleanse that I wanted to do for my body with the intermittent fast. And, but at the same time, I was a little bit worried because, you know, your first meal of the day is very important and it's good to have a healthy, you know, a good breakfast. But it's like eating once a day and then fast throughout the day, just maybe having water. So the once a day would fall at around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So, you know, I would wake up, I would eat at 1 and just the rest of the day and morning I would eat, but I was a little worried about not eating in the morning. What do you think about that? But it's not forever, it's just for a certain amount of
Certain
time.
amount of time. Yeah, you set your mind to it and praying, fasting. I think you can do it. But if you go for extended periods of time, it's
Right.
not healthy for the body as well. Intermittent fasting is a good thing, good way to do it. And it's a healthier way than to not eat at all. Because like sister said, I'm gonna eat a heavy breakfast. I totally agree with you. Eat a heavy breakfast, but your next meal you're gonna have at 4 p.m. And the next meal after that will be morning. But if you feel hungry, make yourself a protein shake, you know, and drink that night. That will calm you for the night. And then in the morning, if you see your sugar level, it will be reduced. And plus, you're taking metformin, right? Metformin is very effective to bring down the sugar levels, right? But much more effective than that is to prevent the diabetes from happening, even before it happens. So a person that was active until the age of 28 for men, until the age of 28, and for women until the age of 32, they see that they have lesser risk of diabetes. And they tend, even if they are prone to diabetes because of other factors, they tend to get diabetes when they're 60 or 70 instead of getting it at 40 and 50. So if you were an active young man or an active young woman until the age of 32, then you are postponing the diabetes from happening. Yes, brother. Just a sweet dog. You cannot prevent genetics because it's in your genes.
It's called genetics.
If you know that you can take medication for the because
For the next generation?
Yes, go ahead.
I got the question is good because let's say for instance your dad
Have it.
I have it. So I can there's a lifestyle
Wait,
I can
wait.
take even from my next generation. You know what I mean?
That's what. It's a very good question though.
Yes.
Because if you can prevent it from happening in your life, but I don't think your children can be prevented from that. They also have to,
genetic.
they also have to, you know, the damage has already taken place in your DNA. And it is genetic. It's being passed on from generation to generation. But what you can do is if you can try to control it, you train your child to do the same thing. Maybe a few generations later, it's already gone from your system.
Question. Okay, so with the research of the two mice with the goody genes, both of them have the goody genes, right? But then you find that one mice has a yellow coat and the other one has a gray coat, yet they have the same genes. But it's based on, you know, their environment and, you know, different things. Now with the fat mice still having the goody genes, but he's fat, etc. Can't you mean to the genetics can't be changed?
It can. It truly
Okay.
can.
Okay, maybe I missed.
It can be because once you channel your body and your generations after you follow the same thing, then after a few generations you might see that it has changed.
Okay. And at that point, your children will not be prone to whatever it is that you had because there's a change.
Yeah, but the predisposing thing is in your chromosomes. It doesn't change. You know, chromosomes don't change quite often, and it's a big issue. Yes.
Okay, I thought that this is for your will, but if it's children, how, I-
How we can change it.
That's not all of it.
It's not
That's not
wrong.
all of it.
It's like that. It's values,
Yeah, let's say for example, my mom has high blood pressure or diabetes. Right? I am prone to get diabetes. I should get diabetes because it's either me or my sisters that will get diabetes, right? Half and half chance. Either one of the siblings will have diabetes. But I live a good and healthy life. I do all the things that is necessary to prevent the diabetes. But my sisters did not do that. That means that they got the diabetes, you know? And now my family is healthier. Their family is going through certain things, you know? And vice versa too. If I didn't do anything enough and I have diabetes, my children have diabetes, my side got affected, their side did not get affected.
if I check the where my dad was dying,
That's what he's talking about.
That's what it's, let me
Because
let me
your
just say
lifestyle,
that real.
your life,
So,
your style can change.
Servos, ok. So, gen diferent fason moun kapap fè diabet, ok? Gen fason ke sou pa manje bien, ok? Ou kapap fè diabet. Gen fason ke si gen fami ou, maman, papa ou, dizon set yo ki te gen li, pou ya ou men, a cause de chromosom yo, ou men ou kom kapab genye li. Men sa pa depan de koman ou men ou manje, koman jere ou. Sou manje bien, ça pas dire que maman te gagne, lui, papa te gagne, ou obligé gagne. Par contre, li nan sang, mais ou manger bien. C'est exemple ça que li te bail, li dit comme ça que, si li même maman le gagne li, et puis lui-même, puisque il gagne un style de vie qui santé, qui pas gagne, mais par contre, il gagne seul qui pas un style de vie qui santé, soeur gagne, petit qui a gagné, c'est comme ça. So, oh, oui. Oh, but she didn't know you could have it in your genes.
All right.
And so, can I give an example? I have a clear example. I have a clear example for example, I was told that I'm anemic. They say it's genetic. Yeah, it's genetic, but my mom had the anemia. My sister had it, but I never had it. We said, yeah, I would just say that, oh, you have something called hyperthalassemia, whatever it is. They said, oh, it's genetic. Yeah, and then they told me that, well, you didn't even keep your iron pill anymore because I have it. Thought I was told. They said that irons are going to help you, but it's genetic. They said that I need just to when I feel I'm good, just get the greens, whatever I need to do to be served, but irons are having genetic. Just because one of my parents has it, I come to have it. I didn't ask for it, it just happened to me because it's in the DNA and the DNA too. So that means
Some in some countries people have sickle cell.
that's how they give it a COVID vaccine.
Sister,
To take with the
What's the
DNA.
name of what it is?
Hyperthalassemia. Yeah, it's a genetic.
So, in some countries in Africa, they have sickle cell.
Yeah.
Sickle cell. So the blood vessel, the blood is supposed to look like a red button with depression between, right? It looks like a red button with a depression, or it looks like a. If you take a cupcake and you make it flat, you make it soft inside, it will look like that, but it's like a disc, right? It looks like a disc. But in sickle cell anemia, the person's blood is in this shape. It's like a sickle, you know, like the sickle that you cut the rice with, or you cut the wheat with. It looks like that. So that's why they call it sickle cell anemia.
So why if you don't have it full? How it looks like?
If you don't have the full sickle cell. No, everybody that has sickle cell anemia has a benefit in Africa. One benefit that they have is malaria grows in normal blood cells, but malaria cannot grow in sickle cell anemia. So they are immune to malaria.
But still, but they have sickle cell, they have bone pain every day.
They have pain every day.
Yeah, that's a sickle cell. Bone pain. Yeah.
My question was, I guess she has sickle cell anemia, but not. She said not fully sickle cell, but
Fully formed sickle cell. She may have the different variant of sickle cell.
She has a sickle cell anemia, but it's not good.
She had a variant of sickle cell. All right. So what are the ways that you can manage your diabetes?
Okay, let's find out.
insulin.
Diet and exercise. First. Diet and exercise.
Number one.
So, if my mom is diabetic, I'm just using it. If my mom is diabetic, or my dad is diabetic, what they need to do first? Diet control. First is diet. Control your diet. The second thing is
Exercise.
exercise. Every day go for walking. Because they're over 60 years old, they cannot do like gym and all those things, or they cannot go running or jogging. They can go walking. Have legs, they can go walking. Right? And make sure that you don't sleep in, bad hygiene too. You have to change your bed sheets every week. You have to change your pillow covers every week. You have to change your towel every week. Good hygiene, because you don't want to get infected with diabetes. And then your feet get infected or your back get infected. Now that infection is going to continue to persist because the sugar will not allow the healing to happen.
Or your undergarment, have to.
Yeah. And undergarments too. Everything should be hygienic.
Mostly, our people from Haiti, Indiana, Africa,
when they're getting old, they will tell you they eat whatever they go to work and they feel like they work. You cannot tell them nothing about that because
know.
they're so stubborn.
They're very
And
stubborn.
They just tell you they are fine. I've been eating bananas since I was a teenager.
And
I'm
nothing
sick of
happened
that.
to them. And they will eat banana because they can eat it.
Yeah.
You have to control your diet.
Okay.
You have to eat the proper diet, which means more fiber food, which means more fiber food. You know, means more fiber, more protein, less carbohydrate, and exercise. Make sure that you exercise at least 4 times. At least 4 times a week of half an hour. So that's 2 to 2.5 hours of exercise per week.
If you are, we can't spend it 1 hour, 1 hour.
That's okay. That's perfect. 3 times per day?
No, 3 times per week,
Oh.
but 1 hour, 1 hour, 3 hours.
Fine.
That's for if you can't go ahead, then go for it. You hear them say
That's every other day that you're doing exercise.
She said that.
All right. So if they prescribe any oral medication for hypoglycemia to reduce it, you have to take it properly, right? If they prescribe insulin therapy, it's a good thing because your sugar is too high. It's not healthy high, right? You got to take what they prescribe for you.
But if you don't have diabetes, if you drink a green juice every day, that can help you.
No, it's not about every day doing the same thing. You have to mix and match because you don't want to get bored and stuck with one thing. You have to do things that keeps you alive. You know, you don't want to have a thing that is the same thing.
No, the
mono.
green juice.
Green juice is a healthy option.
Yeah. If you drink it every day,
It's a good thing.
4 times, that's scary. That can.
It's okay, but you have to moderation. You know, temperance. Diet is a basic part of management in every case. So you have to control your diet, right? And treatment cannot be effective unless you control your diet. Unless you put yourself for exercise, ensuring that your weight is controlled. Because of your weight control, your sugar will go down. Because of your weight control, your blood pressure can go down. Because of your exercise, your blood pressure can go down. And because of your exercise, your mental health will also be stable. And because of your exercise, you will not get a stroke. You know? So those are healthy things that you need to do.
Go there. The life practice.
That's not true because you know the thing is like at one time I went to the clinic, like I see like handicap in every single day.
I say God without one arm. He comes to live water every day.
No,
Yeah.
that's true.
He doesn't
Because
have an
if
arm.
those
So I
guys,
won't talk with it. I believe in those
you're being them to go. What about us? Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, they are
Persistent.
more determined.
They are more determined because the handicap always come. Every
The
single
thing
day.
is to exercise, you don't necessarily have to go to the gym. Even in your house, you can
Yeah.
exercise. You can walk, like I used to encourage my mom to walk back and forth in her apartment, like
Well,
you
what
know.
you can do, put the gym inside your house.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
true. You
I
get the
walk my
treadmill.
car down the hill.
You have
I
money.
walk every day, go up to the hill, go down the hill. Walk my car down the hill. I walk the hill, go to the work, walk again. I said, man, I'm tired. I do too much exercise. I'm tired.
You don't even do
My
enough. You do
body
too much.
is tired. Yeah, because I walk down the hill.
Continue. When you stay
No.
tight, continue.
The legs is tired. The other day I saw a
No.
food.
No, I actually learned that when you do exercise and your body's tired and achy, give it rest. And if you continue, it won't be good.
No. There's something about exercise that I learned. When you go to the gym, your body will, the first day, your body will hurt.
Yeah.
You need to go back the next
Go
day
back the
to
next
make sure
day.
that you balance it. Then you stop and then you go after a day or two. But if you start the first day, you don't go,
You're gonna when you go back,
you're done. Yeah, that's when you learn that when you become an athlete and when you start going to the
you have
gym,
to
you learn
like
that.
continue.
Yeah.
Right.
So that your body used to it.
So we need to allow the body to have good glycemic control, good glucose control, right? And try to keep it as close to normal as possible, not too high. And if there's any issues with the fat or control of cholesterol, you also have to address those things, right? All right. Now, I don't want to go into the details of all of this. This is excessive for now. I said what I had to say. Diet and exercise and good control with medication, right? Do we have any questions? Can we turn it up?
I also feel, I have somebody who went to the doctor,
Brother,
check her
can we
sugar,
turn it up?
the SC1.
But turn that off.
Yeah, all of this.
Oh yeah, yeah, yes.
His SC1 was like,